Right, can you hear me now? Testing.
Let me get onto YouTube first.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, yes. If you can
Just
hear
come
me
up
now.
on my watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey. How easy is that?
He was there sweating for 20 minutes.
Well, I'm just thinking, why has it been so difficult?
Well, good question.
Yeah. I've given a list, went through the steps.
Well, I did ask for a suggestion, a complete idiot's from dummies guide, I said.
Anyway.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Good evening, councillors and Christina. Welcome to this meeting of the Human Resources Committee extraordinary meeting held today on the 3rd of November. The agenda is as follows. Item 1 is apologies for absence received. I think we have apologies from Councillor Breen. Before I go on, we do need someone to minute this meeting in the absence of the town clerk. Is anyone willing to do minutes?
I've got my best, unfortunately,
Okay, I can do it.
Excellent.
So if I can multitask. Okay, the second item is declarations of interest. To receive any declarations of interest, disclosable pecuniary interest from members in respect of business on the agenda. Anything to declare?
No.
Nothing.
No.
Thank you. The next item is minutes. To receive and approve the minutes of the HR committee held on the 6th of October, and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in this agenda. Shall we just go through the minutes page by page? So anything on page 1? Anything on page 2? The RFO discussion is on this agenda. On that item, I did speak to the interim RFO, so that's been done. Also, the assistant town clerk recruitment is on this agenda.
Yes.
And I think that's it. Is there anything
Yep.
else anyone wishes to
No.
raise? So are you happy
I'll propose them.
to propose and,
I'll second.
okay, I'll support that. So I'm going to now sign those minutes.
Yep.
If you're happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
Just initial them first. Sign. It's done. Okay, the next item is public participation. 20-minute session is set aside for members of the public to make representations at the meeting in respect to business on the agenda. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak? No?
No.
Okay, thank you. The next item is recruitment of, apologies. The next item is HR provider.
Yep.
I was looking at the minutes there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've done that before, it's easy to do.
The next item is 11.25.5 is HR provider.
Yeah.
This is to receive a report from the town clerk about the renewal of the HR provider contract. Members are invited to receive the report, and this is attachment 5, and a decision is required. Has everyone got sight of this
Yeah.
Yes.
report? So does anyone wish to raise any issues on this? Councillor Black?
Yes, I had a look at HR Solve It, which is the one-person local operation, I think, isn't it? Yeah. There are advantages in someone being local, and we can certainly probably build up a good relationship. But they don't currently have an HR portal. We could do as an add-on. And my concern is if it's essentially a one-person operation, people do take holidays, people unfortunately do fall ill occasionally, and given the complexity of HR now, unless this person has access to 2 or 3 publications which will really keep that person up to date on all the law, particularly the tremendous changes that are coming down the track, I think it's a little bit risky myself. So I'm not sure that would necessarily be my first choice, but of course the meeting may take a different view.
That's a fair point.
So I would discount that organisation or the organisational one because they're not tied into local authority delivery in any case. So I think there are too many risks around them. And what is the benefit? There isn't a financial benefit when you look at the costings to any great extent. So I personally would leave them aside. The issue I've got in terms of, so I think I've got 2 issues. The current provider, I'm not sure whether we've engaged with them sufficiently to make sure they deliver for us the service we want. So I'm not necessarily minded to just leapfrog across to a different provider. And there are 2 technical aspects to making that statement. One is that it's not entirely clear to me what the costings really are. I found it difficult to do a cost comparison.
Yeah.
Because particularly if you look at each of them, they've got different tiers and all that sort of thing. So it's quite a complex matrix. Also, Peninsula doesn't include a plus VAT. So there are 2 questions that flow out of that. Is that reclaimable by the local authority, i.e. the town council, in this area of operation? And if it is, that takes them both back to point 0 in terms of that. And if not, why is Peninsula's pricing not stating plus VAT? Is that because it's been baked in? So I'm confused what we're comparing. But back to the start of what I was saying is, I'm not entirely convinced that we've really challenged Peninsula properly in terms of their delivery, and that for me might be the starting point, because work less, the costs are much higher, and I don't see how or why as a parish council we suddenly say, well actually we might get better if we pay another 20-30% on top.
I'm also a bit concerned that they seem to have some facilities for people management which we don't seem to use. Now, there could be many reasons of just sheer pressure of work, or it doesn't work very well, and we might be somewhere between the 2. I really would like some explanation as to what this standard is for. The mere fact we didn't use it in the past is not a statement on how well it works or otherwise. And I think, like Councillor Chuka, I'm not convinced we've got the full response here, which is a bit unfortunate. Bearing in mind we have existing issues with other software, to think about changing horses when you've already got an issue with others, to me strikes as being a little bit high risk. However, they are a much bigger organisation. They will certainly have access to much better quantity of information. It's just they're not very sector specific. Having said that, if they're that large, they will have 1 or 2 people who do know local authorities, even though they may not be a designated expert. But the thing that concerns me is you don't seem to get continuity. If I read this report correctly, you phone up and it's Jane one day, and it's Elizabeth the second day, and Marilyn the third day, which is not too good. But yes, you can track it through with the software.
I struggle to understand the costings on this. From what I can see, I mean, clearly there have been concerns about Peninsula in the past, but as Councillor Schuker said, I'm not clear if those have been raised in a robust way with it. But it says in the report that the previous town clerk was given notice. So whether that means we're committed to finding another, or we can renew the contract, I'm not quite clear. But in terms of the costings, the figures I arrived at is that Peninsula, we're currently paying about 2,691. So that's the fee plus the insurance, including VAT. Well,
Where did you get that figure from?
that's from the very first paragraph, 1,473 plus VAT, plus £77 a month subscription. I mean, I'm not very enamoured of the financial aspects of this report. It should be a lot clearer, I think, so we can compare like with like.
So the insurance is £77 a year, not a month.
Paid via a monthly subscription?
Yes, but it's £77 a year.
Okay, in that case, Peninsula are
About £700 cheaper.
1,840 roughly. Plus VAT, 1,473 plus VAT plus 77.
You can't assume there's VAT because it doesn't say plus VAT. So
It says plus VAT here in the very first paragraph of the report.
We're in a bit of a mess, aren't we?
1,473 plus VAT.
Plus VAT.
So that's interesting because that doesn't tie with what we're
Well,
going to quote.
yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
And then we've got work nest. It's either 1,975 for 60 months or 2,275 for a 36-month contract. And HR would be Solvit would be 300 for the standard package would be 3,312 a year. So, but then it's not clear with those other two whether insurance would be added on top of that. So it's a bit of a muddle, I think.
Just a quick question. I don't know how relevant it is whether you have sector-specific services. So is it relevant or not really? No. It's more about legislation and understanding the overall.
Councillor Marie, then.
Yeah, just my query will be, obviously it says in the report it's the former town clerk wasn't happy with the service, etc. Has the new town clerk been in contact with these guys? Because what I'm thinking of is because it obviously we have a new town clerk, she's obviously going to try and spread her wings a bit and put her tax to things. Maybe it'd be ideal to speak to her as well, see what her outcome is with them.
Her comments are in the report, they're not on page 2.
The other thing is obviously as the Peninsula that we use, they don't have, it says they use a large, no sector specific, but work list purely for, they deal with Calc and SLCC, so.
Councillor Black?
If you don't have it's not absolutely essential to have a knowledge of local authorities, but it's very useful. It's not that the law is different, it's just the existing contractual situation about notice, redundancy, issues like that will be quite different from people, and in fact most of them in a different pension scheme, the LGPS, whereas other organisations will have a variety of notice requirements, training requirements, time off for development, etc. It's useful, but it's not absolutely essential. But it certainly helps to get a quicker answer, because otherwise you will have some mix-ups.
So if you take the table that's towards the end of the document, if you take Peninsula, and if you take the lowest cost, £131 a month, multiply that by 12, it's 1,572.
Yeah.
So it's not the 1,800 or so. Even if you add that on top of that, it won't marry up with what we quoted at the out.
This is for Peninsula.
For Peninsula.
Yeah.
Yes, when you add the 36-month cost plus the insurance, I made that total of 1,649, and that must be before VAT.
So 1,572 or 2,112 for a 12 month.
Yes, but then I added the insurance for tribunals, etc., which is something of that price. I would go for that.
Yeah.
We just, go through that again. So if it was 131 a month, which is the lowest cost, but if it's a long term,
For 36 months.
but per annum it's 1572.
Yes.
Okay. If you then add on 20% VAT, that's 1886 plus £71. That's 1957. So it just doesn't marry up with what it says we're paying now. So we can't make a decision. We can't make a recommendation. I suppose if it's going to go to F&GP, what we could do is discount the third one that we've done already, but ask a number of questions around the two, so we've got a clear price comparison. And we reserve judgment, and that it's for me, I think Town Clerk's been here too soon to make her judgment on the service, and she should pick up with them if she feels there is an issue about engagement. That's the first step.
I think that's a good opportunity for her as a new town clerk to say, look, the previous clerk and some members had these concerns. Can we discuss these with you in a kind of open and forthright way? And then come back. So the feeling I'm getting from this meeting is that we should defer this and come back to another HR, which will be when in January. We have until the end of January.
I do think that we should discount the very small local businesses.
I agree.
So it's between these two.
The tone of this report is towards workness, that's my feeling, but
Yes.
from the recommendations, but clearly they're going to be more expensive.
Not
A bit
enormously so.
Well, I think we should reserve judgment because we haven't
Well,
we haven't got figures we can rely on.
Yeah. So
On the
I
information we've got, it's uncertain.
So I think in terms of the budget process, we need to put in a figure that covers these two quotes. And then come back to this in January. With a clearer report where we can see the real costs side by side.
And that gives enough opportunity for the town clerk to engage with Peninsula,
Before
take the issues and see how they respond.
It would be very helpful to understand if as the former town clerk said that she was not going to renew it, whether that's been formally declared, and the cut-off date, because you may have to do something in the short term, or extend it for 3 months or whatever. But I do think that's a question that needs to be asked fairly urgently.
But the fact that it says I have gone to 3 different providers, including Peninsula, suggests that they are a potential provider within the frame.
So if you just look at the first substantial paragraph in the report, it says, as a result, this is talking about the previous town clerk, she has handed in the notice of the HR contract, and it will expire on the 31st of January. So we're almost, we might even be hostages to fortune on this.
It would be nice in such a situation that it's like a web provider where they offer you a new deal on that. Maybe lower tariff.
For mere 5 years.
So I'm prepared to propose that we defer this to the January meeting. Ask the town clerk to discuss the concerns with Peninsula in advance of that meeting and provide a fresh report with clear costings of each provider.
How late in January
Exactly.
is the scheduled HR meeting?
So I'm just looking
Is
at
it
that.
6th of January? Is it?
7th.
Oh, okay.
Wednesday, 7th.
So, cutting it fine, but
7th,
cutting it fine.
The issue will be that we can't make a financial decision if it is to move to a new contract without either F&GP if it's within their remit or to STC for STC.
But we can ask FGP to make a budgetary sum available that covers the potential cost.
Yes.
So an easier route might be is that F&GP is on the 17th, is that right?
Correct. 19th.
17th, 19th?
19th.
Yeah, so there's enough time to town clerk returns on the 10th. That means the papers will need to go out on the 19th, so they'll need to go out on the end of that week. So she's got a week to do the homework to enable F&GP to make it a decision. So I think waiting to January is just too risky if we've already served notice. Yeah. But our recommendation would be not to pursue the third provider. And our recommendation is that we need more clarity and also a conversation by town clerk with Peninsula in terms
So a recommendation to the FGP on the 19th
to look at those
from
two.
this committee that we just look at those two side by side.
Yeah.
And FGP makes a decision on our recommendation of that process going forward. Is
I'm
that
happy with that.
anyone prepared to second that?
I'll second that.
All those in favour? So, just to be clear, we will ask the town clerk to engage with Peninsula and provide a report to FGP on the 19th with the two providers, Peninsula and Worknest, side by side, with a clear financial comparison between the two.
Yeah.
And the commentary from Peninsula about their shortcomings and ongoing performance.
Yeah.
Okay,
Happy with that?
so that's agreed. Right. Next item is a vote on confidential matters. So, to resolve under the Public Bodies Admissions to Meetings Act 1960 and in accordance with Standing Order 5.1.2, to exclude the press and public on the grounds that publicity would be prejudicial to the public interest by reason of the confidential nature of the business to be transacted. And the specific reason here is that we will be discussing information relating to a particular employee or a particular office holder under the authority, and the decision is required on that. And this confidential vote relates to the following three items rather, which is 11.25.7, 11.25.8 and 11.25.9. The date and time of the next meeting is Wednesday the 7th of January. That's not a confidential item.
Yep.
If we're happy to agree
I'm
on
happy to propose that.
Okay.
Second it, second it.
Okay. All those in favour of the date of the next meeting? So we're now voting on the three items I've just listed.
Yep.
Are you happy for those to be treated in confidential session?
I'll propose that.
I'll second it.
All those in favour? So that's agreed. Thank you. So